The movie begins with a couple in a forest talking and appreciating each other. The woman gave her boyfriend a silver knife as a gift. He was very grateful. Later, having a romantic moment in their tent, the tent begins to unzip with someone unseen. They were scared, but suddenly the woman was grabbed by a monster. She was attacked violently, and she got killed by this mysterious monster. The place was soaked with her blood. On the other hand, in a dark forest, a man is running from a group of soldiers. But they managed to catch him. He also beats them all. But this was all a test for him to join a special group of soldiers. Sometime later, a British army lands on a forest from a helicopter for a simulated exercise. After walking through the forest, they take a break. Cooper, the previous soldier that we saw running through the forest, told his comrades about the mysterious attack in the forest. He told them about people getting killed and their bodies will never be found. Despite this mysterious attack, the soldiers must continue their training in the forest. They also walk further into the forest and set up a camp to rest inside the forest. While sitting near a fire flame and talking, a dead cow soaked with blood appeared in their camp. They were all shocked, and some shot their guns. The sergeant calms them down. Looking at the cow's dead body, they see a tooth mark. They figured out that this cow was attacked by the mysterious monster. They decided to guard their camp until morning. In the morning, the soldiers went out to find the mysterious attacker. They followed up the trail left by the cow. Suddenly, they saw a flare in the sky. When they arrived at the area where they saw the flare, it was Captain Rain who called for help. The area was filled with human pieces in the forest, like intestines, which is very scary. Brian has a big claw mark in his chest. He luckily survived the monster's attack. Cooper is trying to help Brian. They also tried to call for immediate air support, but they couldn't manage to do it since there wasn't a signal. Sooner or later, the team heard a very terrifying sound in the forest. They formed a group and started to look after the sound. Bruce, being alone, stands still with his gun. He heard the monster's sound, but he couldn't see him. He was so scared and started to run. The monster followed him, but Bruce ended up being cut in half by a sharp tree branch. Sergeant Harry, on the other hand, searching alone, was surrounded by the monster's presence. He tried to shoot several times, but couldn't manage to shoot the monster. The monster attacked him and left his stomach open. Cooper arrived at the same moment and shot some of the monsters. The sergeant, being in deep pain, is shouting, and the soldiers are trying to help him with his wounds. They start to run, and Cooper is shooting his rifle. All the teams gather and try to attack the monsters. The monsters are too silent to be heard and too careful to be seen. Luckily, they saw the headlight of a car in front of them. One of the soldiers jumped into the car to stop the car. They all entered the car and tried to leave the area, but the car wasn't able to move since the wheel was so jammed. One of the monsters arrived and tried to attack them. Finally, they managed to cut his hand and leave the place. The woman told them that she has a friend nearby to stay so that they can treat the sergeant's wound. Soon, they arrived at the place. Before settling down, they quickly investigated the house. They heard some strange voices, and when they checked what it was a friendly dog named Sam. They all settled down there. Since no one was at the house, Cooper starts to help the sergeant, who is screaming with pain. The woman told them that the nearest town is 4 hours away, and there was no phone for calling in the house. So they decided to drive there to ask for help. Cooper and Spoon head to the car. When they light their flare to check the car is destroyed. But not only that, the area was filled with monsters. They ran into the house, but one of them shot once, and this created a fire, and the car exploded, since there was fuel leaking all over the car. After Cooper and Spoon entered the house, the monsters attempted to enter the house. They start to push the door by sticking their arms at the door gap. But after some difficulty, Cooper manages to lock the door and shoves his gun into the little door. Meanwhile, Sam the dog is violently pulling the sergeant's bandage. The impatient Ryan wants to shoot the dog, but Private Terry stops him and saves the friendly dog Sam. Cooper calms everyone and asks them to stay focused. The soldiers tried to close the window with a lot of wood. They also tried to guard their house as much as they could, but the monsters were still in the area with blood hunger. The soldiers try to eat and drink anything in the house to survive. They also collect everything they can to use it as a weapon to kill the monsters, even the kitchen utensils. Later, Cooper decided to seal the sergeant's wound with McGeehan help, since they didn't have any choice. Then they took him upstairs and began to seal his wound. Harry screams in pain and asks Cooper to hit him so that he can pass out in order to get some relief from his pain. Cooper hits him, and Harry passes out. This gives them some time to treat his wound. While treating Harry's wound, Megan told Cooper that the creatures were werewolves. Cooper hesitated to believe, but she told him that she was studying about them for 2 years, which makes Cooper to believe. She also told them that the werewolves will attack them sometime later when there is going to be a full moon, since werewolves hunt more when it's full moon. Cooper decides to question Captain Ryan since there was something suspicious about him. He asked him what he was doing in the area with his team. Ryan was found by the soldiers wounded, but he was running soon to enter the house. There was something strange going with him. Cooper asked him to see his wound, but Rain pulled out a gun on him. Immediately, Megan hit him behind and held him tightly with the others. Cooper managed to see his wound, but his wound was healed like a miracle. At this moment, all the power went off in the house. The werewolves destroyed the generator. The monsters began their attack. Cooper asked Megan to watch after Rain, since there is something suspicious about him. Spoon notices the door moving on both sides. The werewolves are trying to enter the house. One of the werewolves tried to enter through the window, but he got shot. Terry and Cooper are shooting a werewolf that is trying to enter. Spoon trying to protect the door by shooting. A werewolf tries to break through the door, but Cooper throws boiling water in the werewolf's face. Crookley, trying to shoot a werewolf, was grabbed by a werewolf behind. He tried to fight it off, but couldn't. Cooper arrived and cut off the werewolf's hand. Cooper heard noise upstairs and went there. He saw a werewolf entering the window near Harry. He tried to shoot the monster, but he got grappled and left his gun. He then throws a book on Harry to wake him up. Harry wakes up and shoots a gun on the monster. They both manage to shoot the werewolf, and they manage to push him off. The fighting stops when Terry turns his back. He is taken away by one of the werewolves. Later, Megan told them sunrise is in 6 hours, and Cooper gave her a rabbit foot for good luck. He also gave her a gun for protection, and we see Megan looking at the werewolf with some kind of look. She then told them that there is a car in the barn. Kickerly willingly got hot-wired, and they tied a rope to a bed. Kickerly asked Megan if she knows who will win the fight, but she told them that she doesn't know. Megan asked them if they can hot-wire a car, because there is a car in the barn, but she doesn't know where the car is. Joe willingly offers himself for the mission, but first of all, they need to create a distraction. So, Spoon went with a rope tied on him, just to have the attention of the werewolves. He shouted and light on the flare. The werewolves started to chase him. This gave Joe the chance to run to the barn. Spoon climbed the rope and entered the house, but the monsters started to pull the rope that Spoon used. After some difficulty, Spoon managed to cut the rope. Joe, on the other hand, manages to start the car, but Joe sees the werewolf feeding his friend Terry while he is alive. The monster tries to open the car's door, but Joe fights hard and manages to close the door. Unfortunately, the monster was inside the car. Joe tried to fight the werewolf, but he was destroyed by the werewolf. When the other soldiers and Megan tried to enter the car, the monster was feeding their friend Joe. Megan fires her pistol into the monster, and this gives Harry a chance to close the door. Meanwhile, we will see the soldiers losing hope and being confused. Cooper asked Captain Ryan his knowledge on the werewolves. He told him that the team was sent to the forest to decoy the werewolves so that the captain can stay safe. Cooper, being so angry, punched Ryan. But Ryan's eye begins to change. He was in a transformation period, and he suddenly becomes a werewolf. Megan tries to attack him with a flashlight. The other soldiers shoot him until he leaves the house. Now they understand why the house is empty. The family in the photo are all werewolves, and they didn't like the soldiers being at their house. Megan told the soldiers that werewolves stay in a pack to hunt, eat, or anything. They thought that all of them must be in the barn. So Cooper planned to explode all the barn. Harry offers to provide protection for all of them. Since his wounds have completely healed, he will become a werewolf in no time. Spoon punctures the gas tank of the Jeep. They load the cylinder into the car, and Cooper drives the car into the barn. He jumps out before the car explodes. Harry then arrives with a flame of fire and throws it to the barn. The whole barn explodes. Everything seems to have ended, and the soldiers did as they planned. But the most mysterious and amazing plot starts now. Megan told them that she is one of the werewolf family. She hides all the werewolves in the kitchen, and they were all alive. She also began to transform, but Spoon shot her in the head, and they started to run upstairs. But Spoon was trapped by one of the monsters, and he locked himself in the kitchen. But the werewolf manages to break the door and enters the house. Spoon tries to fight bravely the werewolf. He also tries to stab him with a knife, but lastly the werewolf grabs him in the neck. Cooper and Harry are trying to escape on the second floor. The sergeant, undergoing a transformation, blows up the gas stove, when the werewolf pack approaches. Lastly, Cooper is attacked by the last remaining werewolf, Captain Ryan, but Sam intervenes. The soldier uses a silver dagger to stun the creature before delivering the final blow. At dawn, only Cooper and Sam survive, and Cooper reveals the horror they faced. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.